A church in rural Tennessee, bare wooden pews, a ceiling fan turning slow, and a woman in the third row completely breaking down. Not from grief, from a song. These are the 10 country gospel songs that stopped rooms cold, and the stories behind them that almost never got told. Number 10, Go Rest High on That Mountain, VinceGill, 1994. VinceGill started writing this song in 1987. He didn't finish it for 7 years, not because he lost interest, because he couldn't. He'd started it after the death of Keith Whitley, one of country music's most heartbreaking losses. But the song sat unfinished, half-formed. Like a wound that hadn't closed. When his own brother Bob died in 1993, Gill finally found the words he'd been missing. MCA Records wasn't sure about it. Gathered round your grave. A slow, hymn-like ballad with religious overtones, not exactly what country radio was chasing in 1994. The format was changing. Garth Brooks had just exploded. Everything was bigger, louder, more. And here was VinceGill asking everyone to slow down and sit with their grief. So why did it almost not make it? Because grief doesn't sell. Yeah, that's what the formula said. Vulnerability without a hook isn't radio friendly. It's too heavy, too church, too real. Let that breathe for a second. But then something happened at the 1995 CMA Awards. Gill performed it live, and the room, a room full of industry professionals who'd heard everything, went completely silent. You could feel it. That particular silence that isn't quiet at all. It's the sound of 1,000 people trying not to cry at the same time. The song won CMA Single of the Year. It won Song of the Year. It charted for 2 years, reaching number 1 and staying in the top 40 long after most songs had been forgotten. It has since been played at more funerals than almost any other country song ever recorded. That's not a chart position. That's a ministry. And it almost never happened. Number 9, I Can Only Imagine. Mercy Me, 2001.
I can only imagine what my eyes will see.
Yes, this one counts. And if you think it doesn't stay with me?
When your face is...
Bart Millard wrote this song in about 10 minutes. He was 21 years old, grieving his father, sitting alone somewhere in Texas with a yellow notepad.
Will I be able to speak at all? I can only...
And nothing left to say except the one question he couldn't stop asking. What will it be like when I finally see his face?
I can only imagine.
The Christian music industry didn't know what to do with it at first. It didn't fit the mold. It wasn't a worship anthem with a big stadium chorus.
One will my heart feel will I dance for.
It wasn't polished. It was personal and small and almost fragile, like a prayer someone forgot to fold up. Here's the number that matters.
Will I dance for you, Jesus, or in all of you?
I Can Only Imagine spent a record-breaking 65 weeks on the Billboard Christian charts. It crossed over to mainstream country radio, genuinely unheard of for a contemporary Christian record. Country stations in Oklahoma, Texas, and Tennessee were flooded with listener requests. It sold over 2 million singles before most people knew the band's name. And then a movie came out in 2018 telling the story behind the song. It made over $83 million at the box office on a $7 million budget. A 10-minute prayer on a yellow notepad. Nobody in any boardroom planned for that. Nobody predicted it. It simply was true. And the world recognized truth when it heard it. Number 8. Angels Among Us, Alabama, 1993.
And had me down on my knees.
This might be the one that proves country gospel doesn't need a church to feel holy.
To lend a helping hand, a phone call from
Don Goodman and Becky Hobbs wrote this song after a car accident left them both shaken and asking questions they didn't have answers to.
I understand, but ain't it kind of...
The song ended up on Alabama's Cheap Seats album, not as a single, not as a lead track, just tucked in there. An album cut.
Somewhere up above, they come to you.
Easy to skip. Radio wasn't rushing to play it. Alabama was already a juggernaut. By 1993, they'd charted over 20 number ones. But this song felt different.
How to live, to teach us how to give.
Softer, more vulnerable than their usual fare. The Suits weren't sure it had the commercial punch their slots demanded. And yet. Listener calls started coming in. Stations in rural Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, places where people still gathered around the radio on Sunday mornings, started getting flooded with requests.
They come to you and me.
Play that Angels song again. It reached number 1 on the Hot Country Singles chart in January 1994. But the chart position almost doesn't matter. What matters is what happened after it became the soundtrack of every memorial service, every school tragedy vigil. Every moment where a community needed to believe that something was watching over them. After the Columbine shooting in 1999, radio stations reported a massive spike in plays of this exact song. Some songs don't just get popular. Some songs become necessary.
So many faces show up in the strangest.
Number 7, If Heaven, Andy Griggs, 1999.
When the fireflies start their dancing on the lawn.
Not everyone knows this one. That's almost the point. Andy Griggs released his debut album in 1999 on RCA Nashville.
On the stove, and I can hear my mama laughing.
He was 24 years old, from West Monroe, Louisiana, and he had a voice that sounded like it had already lived 100 years of hard Sundays.
Summer day in 1985.
The label had other singles they wanted to push. If Heaven was not the priority. It charted, but modestly.
Was still alive.
In an era when Tim McGraw and Faith Hill were dominating every format, a quiet, faith-soaked ballad from a debut artist didn't exactly get the full marketing machine behind it.
Oh, gonna say goodbye.
So why are we talking about it now? Because of what happened at his live shows. Every time Griggs sang it, every single time something happened in the room.
I ain't afraid to die.
People stopped moving. They stopped talking to each other. Some of them cried, and some of them just stared. And the word spread the old-fashioned way, not through algorithms, not through playlists, through people telling other people,
Heavy on the tongue.
you have to hear this song live. It eventually reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot Country Singles chart. But more than the chart,
Yeah, not just one bite.
it earned something rare, the kind of loyalty that doesn't fade. 15 years after release, it was still appearing on fan-voted lists of the most emotionally powerful country gospel songs ever recorded.
Yeah, not just one bite would satisfy.
Some songs find their audience slowly. That doesn't make them failures. It makes them timeless.
'Cause I'd have you in my arms again.
Number 6, 3 Wooden Crosses. RandyTravis, 2002.
Forever saw the stop sign.
RandyTravis was in trouble. By the late 90s, the man who had literally saved traditional country music in 1986, who had walked into Nashville with On the Other Hand,
Guess it's not what you take when you leave this world.
and reminded a whole industry what the genre was supposed to sound like, was struggling. His commercial peak had passed. The neo-traditional wave he'd ridden had crested. Younger artists had taken the spotlight.
It's what you leave behind you when you go.
Then comes 2002, and a song written by Kim Williams and Doug Johnson about a highway accident. A farmer, a teacher, a hooker, and a preacher riding in the same car, living completely different lives,
Man, as he lay his blood-stained Bible in there.
and the aftermath that changes everything. Radio program directors hesitated. It was long, lyrically dense. It named a hooker outright on country radio.
3 wooden crosses on the right side of the highway.
The story structure was more short story than song. Not exactly a 3-minute radio-friendly single, but Travis recorded it with such absolute conviction, that voice,
That's a story that our preacher told last Sunday.
worn and weathered by then, carrying every syllable like it weighed something, that Capital Nashville went ahead and released it. And everything changed.
Pulled up for all of us to see. He said, bless the farmer.
It hit number 1 in February 2003 and stayed there for 2 weeks. It won CMA Single of the Year. It won Song of the Year.
Who read it to me?
It won Grammy for Best Country Song. But here's the gut punch. RandyTravis was a man whose faith was the foundation of everything he sang.
Yes, you know, it's not what you take when.
And this song about redemption, about the grace that finds even the least deserving, felt like testimony, not performance.
What you take when you leave this world behind you.
The room didn't just cry. The room believed. If you've been watching this far, you already know these aren't just songs. These are moments.
On the right side of the highway.
These are the ones people remember exactly where they were when they first heard them. If that hits home for you, go ahead and subscribe.
Why there's not 4 of them now.
There's a whole catalog of stories like these, and we're just getting started. But what comes next? This next one almost didn't exist at all.
Now I guess you know
It's not.
The artist nearly walked away from music entirely before he recorded it.
There are 3 wooden crosses on the right side.
And what he made instead became one of the most emotionally shattering performances in country gospel history. Don't go anywhere.
Of the highway.
Number 5, When I Get Where I'm Going, BradPaisley featuring Dolly Parton, 2005.
Drop of rain. Yeah, when I get where I'm going.
BradPaisley almost didn't record this song. He'd written it with Wheaton and Williams, and it was good he knew it was good.
Yeah, when I get where I'm going.
But it was also the most openly spiritual thing he'd ever put his name on. Paisley had built his career as a clever, self-aware country artist, funny, sharp, technically brilliant on guitar.
Yeah, when I get where I'm going. Don't.
This song was none of those things. It was naked, earnest. It was a hymn dressed in a country arrangement.
Shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years.
And in 2005, being that earnest was a risk. His label, Arista Nashville, supported the release, but there were internal questions about format.
My granddaddy, and he'll match me still.
Who was this for? Country fans who wanted him to be funny? Gospel fans who didn't know him? Where did it live?
Don't cry for me down.
Paisley's answer was to bring in Dolly Parton. And here's the genius: Dolly didn't just add star power, she added credibility.
Hug his neck, yeah, when I get where I'm going.
She was the bridge between the secular and the sacred, between entertainment and testimony, in a way nobody else in the genre could have been.
Match me step for step, and I'll tell him.
The song entered the charts, and something quiet started happening. Churches began using it. Funeral homes reported it being requested.
Shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years.
A version circulated on early YouTube. This was 2005, remember, when YouTube was barely a year old, and it spread through email forwards the way things spread back then.
Yeah, when I get where I'm going.
Person to person. You need to hear this. It reached number 1 in November 2005.
So much work to do.
It was certified platinum. But the number that means more, it was named the most played song at Christian radio stations in 2006. Not contemporary Christian. Country. That's a line being crossed that rarely gets crossed.
Struggles I have carried all these years. Now leave my.
Number 4. He Stopped Loving Her Today. GeorgeJones, 1980.
He kept her picture home.
There are people who will argue this is the greatest country song ever recorded, not country gospel specifically.
He kept her picture on his wall.
Country anything. GeorgeJones nearly didn't make it to the recording session. The late 70s had been brutal for him.
Now then.
Addiction had hollowed him out. He'd missed so many shows they'd started calling him No-Show Jones. His marriage to Tammy Wynette had collapsed.
Hoping she'd come.
His career was on life support. He was a man in full public freefall. Producer Billy Sherrill brought him He Stopped Loving Her Today, and Jones reportedly told him,
I want to see my.
nobody's gonna buy that morbid old song. Nobody's gonna buy it. It took multiple recording sessions to finish. Jones's voice kept cracking. Some people say he was too emotional.
I want to see my friend today.
Others say he was too intoxicated. Either way, though it took everything they had to get it done. CBS Records released it in 1980.
Dressed up to go away.
And from the very first week, it did something unusual. DJs were calling the label, asking to play it again.
Sing, smiling years.
Not listeners, DJs. People who'd heard 10,000 songs and could still feel this one. It hit number 1. It stayed there. It won CMA Single of the Year. It won Song of the Year. GeorgeJones had his first number 1 hit in nearly a decade. But here's where the gospel of it lives. This is a song about a man who loved a woman.
He stopped loving her
Until the day he died. It's not explicitly religious, but it's about something that transcends ordinary human feeling.
running through my mind. Well, this time.
About a love so absolute, it only ends when the body does. That's not just country music. That's a meditation on eternity.
Through my mind. Well, this time. He's a
GeorgeJones later said it was the song that saved his career. Some people said it saved his life. In the room where they first played the finished recording, back there wasn't a dry eye in the studio. Not one.
He stopped loving her.
Number 3. I Saw the Light. HankWilliams, 1948. Here is where country gospel begins. Not officially, there were gospel songs in country music before HankWilliams. But this is the moment it became undeniable. The moment that the two things, the twang and the testimony, fused into something permanent. HankWilliams wrote I Saw the Light in 1947 and recorded it in 1948. He was 25 years old. He was already drinking too much. He was already falling apart in ways that would kill him before his 30th birthday. And yet he wrote this song, a pure, jubilant declaration of faith with such joy that
I was a fool to wander and stray.
it almost doesn't sound like the same man who wrote, I'm so lonesome I could cry. The song wasn't a massive commercial hit on release. It charted moderately, and the industry in 1948 didn't have a framework for what to do with a country song that sounded this much like a church revival meeting. But it survived. It survived because people sang it. Not on the radio in their homes, in their churches, in their cars on dirt roads in Alabama and Georgia and Mississippi. It passed from generation to generation the way Scripture does not through industry, but through need.
Let my dear Savior in, then Jesus came.
By the time Williams died on January 1st, 1953, it had already become a hymn.
Then Jesus came like an angel in the night.
Today, it has been covered by hundreds of artists across every genre. It is sung in country churches across the South every single Sunday morning. HankWilliams didn't live to see what it became. But in some way, that's the whole point.
I was a fool to.
Some songs are not for the one who wrote them. They're for the ones who come after.
Gate and narrows the way, but now I have traded.
Number 2, How Great Thou Art, as performed by Elvis Presley, 1967.
When I know.
Yes, Elvis. Because this is where country, gospel, and raw human power converge so completely that categories stop meaning anything.
When I know someone.
Elvis Presley recorded the gospel album How Great Thou Art in 1967 at RCA Studio B in Nashville, the same room where country music history had been made for a decade. And he didn't come in to produce a commercial product. He came in because he needed to. By 1967, Elvis was commercially struggling.
With shout of acclamation.
The film career that had consumed his 60s was producing diminishing returns. His rock and roll crown had been passed to the Beatles and the Rolling Stones.
What joy shall fill my heart.
RCA was nervous. The label wanted hits. What they got instead was Church. The title track, this old Swedish hymn written in 1885, translated into English.
In humble land.
Are recorded in 100 different ways, became, in Elvis's hands, something that had never existed before and has never existed since.
Oh my God!
The recording session reportedly stopped multiple times because people in the studio were crying. Engineers, session musicians, people who were paid to be professionals. When RCA released it, they weren't sure it would sell.
Heaven sings my soul.
Gospel albums didn't sell not from mainstream pop artists, not reliably. It won the Grammy for Best Sacred Performance in 1967. It won it again in 1974 after a live performance version was released. It is, to this day, one of the best-selling gospel recordings in history. But charts don't explain what happens when you're sitting alone at 2 a.m, and that voice fills the room. There's a live performance from the 1972 Madison Square Garden concert. 40,000 people. And when he finishes the last note, the silence before the applause, that half second of collective held breath, tells you everything you need to know. Some things are not performances. Some things are encounters. Number 1, Amazing Grace, as performed by Judy Collins, 1970/, and the version that changed everything.
But now I see.
We have to be honest about this. Amazing Grace is not a country song.
I see.
It is not a gospel song. It is not an American song. It was written in 1772 by John Newton,
I ought to fear.
a former slave trader who experienced a conversion so profound that he spent the rest of his life trying to reckon with what he had done and what he had been forgiven for. Yet. In 1971, Judy Collins's version
That grace appears.
recorded in 1970 and released as a single reached the top 40. But more than the chart, It returned the song to mainstream consciousness at the exact moment America needed it most. Vietnam was consuming the country. The civil rights movement had left deep scars. People were fractured, grieving, unsure of anything. And then this song appeared again. This old song. And this song from a different century about a wretch finding grace. It has since been recorded by over 1,000 artists. In country music alone, it has been covered by Willie Nelson, Loretta Lynn, Alan Jackson, Johnny Cash, and Dolly Parton. Each time finding a different room, a different wound, a different congregation. The version that still breaks rooms. Alan Jackson's performance following 9/11 on the America. A tribute to Heroes Telethon, broadcast without commercial interruption on all 4 major networks on September 21st. 2001, 10 days after the towers fell. Jackson stood alone on a stage and sang it as a country hymn. Acoustic and plain and unbearably human. There was no production, no spectacle. Just a man and a song that was already 229 years old. And the whole country cried. Not because the song was new, because it was true. Because grief and grace have always needed each other. Because no matter how much time passes, no matter how modern everything gets, there are still moments when the only language left is the one that's been around the longest. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. That line was written by a man who knew exactly what he was. And somehow in a church, in a living room, in a car on a Sunday morning, in a national broadcast 10 days after the worst day in a generation, it has always found the person in the room who needed it most. That's not music. That's mercy.